can you see it? Streaming the truth live from where they decree it. Sylvia speaks, no filter, no buffer. Courtroom drama couldn't get any tougher.
When the gavel's first bang, to the witness turns tears. Sylvia's lens captures all your hopes and fears. Uploading justice one trial at a time. Tune in every moment, edges sublime.
Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Faces tell stories, the courtroom can't hide. Sylvia's insights cut through the divide. From jury talks to the lawyer's secret. In Sylvia's world, you know you'll need it. Behind the scenes where whispers are loud, her lens reveals the truth in the crowd. Courtroom secrets laid bare to see. Stay curious, may the Sylvia spree. Every objection, every sharp retort, Sylvia's there to give you the report. Exclusive footage no one else can snag. From catchy headlines straight to the tag. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show.
Faces tell.
Hey, good excuse me. Hey, good people. Hey y'all. Hey y'all. Well, tomorrow is court day. Court starts at 9:00, and tomorrow I get to go home too. After court, I'm gonna take that road trip. Riders, y'all be with me. I'm gonna take the trip back home because I've been here long enough. So tomorrow is homebound. The snow and stuff, the ice is gone. You got me? Thank you, Miss Richards. Miss Richards said she got me on the road trip back home. All right, guys. So what I'm gonna do is do some recap of what's going on. Well, tomorrow is day 2 of jury selection. So, everything has been pushed back because of the weather, because we didn't have court on Wednesday. We didn't have court on Thursday, right? So we're back at court on tomorrow. So tomorrow is really going to be the first panel of jurors, because remember, we're supposed to have the panels. So everything has been pushed back. So those who don't know anything about this trial, I'm going to play some old clippings of what was going on, what happened, and things like that. And we're going to go ahead and put this banner up. Disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for the purpose of criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Okay? All right. So tomorrow is court. Court starts at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. tomorrow. Court start. Judge is going to be continuing doing the jury selection. I will be on Twitter again, on X, whatever that thing is called, X, Twitter, whatever it is. I'll be on there giving you guys play-by-play what's going on with the jurors and things like that. Okay? So, you guys, I want you guys to be abreast of what's happening inside the courtroom. Okay? In the meantime, We're gonna go and review some old clippings. You know, your girl CMT got it together for us. You know that, right? She got it together. So we're gonna start off with a clip of let's see. Let's see. We're gonna go with the clip is titled Jackie Johnson defends office in Aubrey's shooting. Okay, this is a 2 minutes and 30-second video. We're gonna go and look at some of these videos because we want to stay abreast of everything that's happening for those who don't know what happened and stuff like that. And we're gonna go review some stuff and get you guys abreast of what's happening because this is a major case, right? This is a major case. This is a DA. This is like the first time a DA in this county have been charged with something like this. So, and I just want to tell you, I know everybody is like mad with Steele and Adams in representing her. What they're trying to basically do is try to make sure everything is done in the right way. Okay, because everybody deserves good representation, and so she got one of the best of the best. Okay, so don't be hating on them. Don't get upset because they're a defense attorney. They just want the prosecution to do their job, and you know they're gonna fight their hardest for the client. Okay, all right. Everybody deserves a fair trial. Everybody, no matter how much people think of it. I'm going to keep my opinion out of it, okay? I'm going to keep my opinion out of it as much as I can. But when I see wrong, I mean, wrong is wrong, right? Okay. All right, here we go.
In Brunswick, Georgia for you. Several state lawmakers from both Georgia and Florida held a rally outside the Glenn County Courthouse calling for Georgia to take up a hate crime law that could be named after Arbery. At the rally, those leaders are calling for Brunswick District Attorney Jackie Johnson and Waycross District Attorney George Barnhill to be removed from office. The pair have since recused themselves from the case because of conflicts of interest. However, one state lawmaker is calling for Johnson and Barnhill to be charged with criminal obstruction because of their handling of this case. Meanwhile, Jackie Johnson is defending her office and its handling of the case. She says she's confident the investigation will show her office acted appropriately as calls for her to be fired now grow louder. Here's On Your Side's Ken Amaro with the latest tonight.
Jackie Johnson was appointed district attorney in 2010. Since then, the veteran prosecutor's tenure has been a roller coaster of success and disappointment. Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr.
It's important for us to find out what happened and to make sure that justice is done.
Carr asked the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to investigate her handling of the Ahmaud Arbery shooting. Glenn County Commissioner Peter Murphy.
This case was mishandled for the get-go.
Johnson is now defending her office. In a written statement, she says, "We're confident that any investigation will show that our office acted appropriately under the circumstances. There's a public misconception about this case due to false allegations against our office by those with an agenda."
The one mistake I made in this case, again, was trying to be helpful to the police.
On Monday, Johnson took to the Butch and Bob radio show to defend her office. She told the audience when her office received the call, she declared a conflict and called in Waycross District Attorney George Barnhill. Barnhill would write in a letter that the shooting was justifiable, tainting the process before recusing himself because his son works in Jackie Johnson's office. Again, Commissioner Murphy.
So now we have a situation where our officers have been told twice in 24 hours by two separate district attorney offices that there was no probable cause for arrest.
Since the shooting, Johnson has been under heavy fire on social media. Many are calling for her to be fired.
I think when the dust is settled, there's going to be a lot of blame pointed at multiple of the prosecutors' offices around here.
Ken Amaro, First Coast News, On Your Side.
All right, y'all. That was one of the reporting from the station that's down here regarding that case. I'm going to also bring up another clipping. Hold on, y'all. Okay, here we go. Another one. So you guys could get abreast of what's happening, what happened. All right, here we go. Here's another one.
Jackie Johnson is accused of stopping police from making an arrest in the Arbery shooting case when it first happened. The Glynn County District Attorney, though, says that's a lie.
Yes, speaking publicly about the case for the first time, she also told a Southeast Georgia radio station that she is the victim of retaliation.
I was just horrified because that's so far from the truth. It's just a straight up lie.
On the Butch and Bob radio show, WIFO FM in Southeast Georgia, Brunswick District Attorney Jackie Johnson says she never told local police not to make an arrest when 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery was shot and killed back in February. She was the first DA to handle the case and is accused of directing Glynn County police officers not to arrest Gregory and Travis McMichael, the father and son seen on video in the deadly confrontation with Arbery. Gregory McMichael once worked for Johnson as an investigator, and that's why Johnson says she knew she couldn't get involved.
I did not talk to Glynn County Police that day. One of my investigators contacted me and said he had heard something about there was a shooting in that neighborhood, and my investigator may be involved, or my former investigator. And I told the person that called me, I says, look, we cannot be involved in that. We cannot go out there. We cannot do anything.
Johnson later recused herself and her office, giving the case to Waycross District Attorney George Barnhill, who also had to recuse himself after Arbery's mother discovered Barnhill's son worked for the Brunswick DA's office where Gregory McMichael worked. The radio DJ asked Johnson why give the case to Barnhill knowing about his conflict.
And it being the nearest DA's office, I just wanted to be able to try to get them somebody initially to help them make a decision. I didn't expect or try to direct him in any way other than, hey, will you go over and see if you can help him?
Johnson says she believes she's being vilified as retaliation.
We've had some corruption issues in the Glynn County Police Department, and my office has been at the forefront of trying to deal with some of those.
Georgia's Attorney General has asked the GBI to investigate both Johnson and Barnhill for misconduct. He wants to know why no one contacted his office before one DA gave the case to the next DA. You can listen to her full radio interview right now inside this story on news4jax.com.
Okay, now we're going to take our time to go listen to that actual radio show. Okay, we're going to do that right now. Hold on. We're going to go ahead and listen to the Butch and Bob show to hear what she actually said in that show. All right. You know, we're going to get that information for you guys. You know the way we do over here. You know the way we do over here. Hold on. Okay, here we go.
Is with a special guest. Got another guest in the green room talking about the importance of blood. So we'll get to her in about 15 minutes. But Jackie's with us here this morning on the World Famous Butch and Bob Show. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Bob, for having me.
Always good to see you. You're running for re-election.
Yes, I'm up this year. I'll be on the November ballot. Actually, I'll be on the May ballot, but I am the only person running on the Republican ticket. So I don't have any opposition in May, but I will possibly have someone in November.
Yeah, I met him at Taste of Wayne. Keith Higgins was at the Taste of Wayne saying he has to get like 6,000 signatures to get on the ballot as an independent. So that seems like a tall task.
Yeah, to run as a Democrat or a Republican, you can go sign up and pay your money, but you can also get on the ballot by getting enough signatures as an independent, and I think that's the route he's chosen to take.
He's from Glynn County, is that correct?
Yes, down in Brunswick.
Well, tell us about your campaign. Like I said, it's a big circuit. Like I said, it's Wayne, Appleton, Jeff Davis, Camden, and Glenn. So I'm sure you're out seeing people campaigning.
We've had a good time. We were down at Scriven about 2 weeks ago at the softball tournament. We did Odom Day. We did the Veterans Parade. I think we did the MLK parade. Trying to remember what all we've done. It seems like we've got something in Scriven about every other weekend. They do a lot down there, but been out a lot in Wayne County, gotten to see a lot of people. I feel very good about Wayne County, a lot of good people here, a lot of good support here. I think what's good about me is I have a record. This will be my 10th year as district attorney. You know me, you know my people, and you know what we stand for. We care about this community, and I'm a Republican. I'm not afraid of that. I'm about law and order, and that's important. It's also important to temper that sometimes, and we do that. We have a drug court program, and we have a pretrial diversion program for first-time offenders, and we move a lot of cases that way. But what we have tried to shift our resources since I've been district attorney and really focus on the things that are important to the community, things that put our citizens at risk, things like violent crime, things like some of the heavier drug cases. And one of the challenges I've had since I've been district attorney is a few years back, we basically had a lot of drug dealers and gang members moving into our county. And with the help of people in my office and the sheriff's office and the police department and the GBI, we've really been able to target some of those people and disrupt that activity and move them out of this county so that they can see that Wayne County is not a safe haven for drug dealers or for gang members. And we've still got some cases that we've got to resolve, but I feel very good about what we've done. The challenge to that is you're doing some tough work at the courthouse. You don't always make everybody happy, so you never know what's going to happen in an election. But what you hope is that the people see that what you've done and that you do have a record will come out and support you.
What's taking place right now with what's going on? Social distancing, is any court taking place? I know we were supposed to have that murder trial this week. It got postponed. Did it get postponed due to the virus? Or
Yes. Well, what's going on, Bob, and it's really been a challenge for us, but I think there's a silver lining in everything. It's really forced some positive changes on Tuesday. Tuesday, and also we are scheduled for next Wednesday of this week. Sheriff John Carter has been working with us. It's a tremendous amount of resources to have court. You've got to secure inmates. You've got to bring them from the jail to the courthouse, and you've got to have them signed up and ready to plea on cue when the judge is there. And it's just a lot of logistics. One of the things that sheriffs has been working on for years is getting video feed to the courtroom from the jail so that we don't have to risk the security and other things. And now, especially with the containment of that virus, transporting inmates is especially a risky situation. So what we're doing is we're allowing them to be videoed from the jail into the courtroom. And the Supreme Court put out an order on Sunday, an emergency order from Atlanta, that basically until April the 13th, we can use extreme measures and do things to keep our court system moving. In the last several days, one of our big concerns is during this crisis that our sheriff has enough space to house people in the jail if something new should happen with our court system shut down, because the biggest side effect of court being shut down is your jail population basically stays there unless you can figure out some way to get them out by agreement without having a court hearing. So what we're doing is we're making agreements to get people out on bond where we can on more of the nonviolent offenses. We got several out that way this week. We're pleading cases to probation if we can, but the good news is we can do that by video now, and I expect we'll be doing some of that Wednesday. We're doing some of that today in Appleton County. So as of this week, in 4 of our 5 counties, we're set up to do that, and our judges have blessed that and have gotten on board with that. Our sheriffs are very much in favor of it because it improves their ability to do their job and it makes their employees safer. So that's what we're going to do for the time being. I don't know how long this is going to last, but one of the things we're doing is working closely with the sheriff to keep that jail in good shape while this goes on. I mean, we can't send an order came out yesterday. We can't send anybody to prison while this is going on. So the sheriff is stuck with whoever he's got while this is happening. So we need to work with him as closely as we can to keep our jail population managed.
If you just joined us, District Attorney Jackie Johnson in the studio with us again. As we mentioned this week, they're supposed to have the Earl Watson murder trial. That's been rescheduled for May 26th. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think unfortunately you've probably got a lot of listeners that know what it's like to go to a jury selection in Wayne County. But
those people that got the 300 summons, according to Francis, they can just throw those away.
They do not have to come.
They won't be coming May 26th. They'll have a new panel altogether, is what she told me.
We'll have a new panel completely. Is that right, John? We'll draw a new panel. If you come to jury duty by no choice of your own, you're forced to be in a large crowd of people. Same thing with grand jury. We typically have in 30 to 40 people, and then we'll pick a grand jury of 23 to 26 members. And so we've suspended our jury trials. We've suspended our grand juries throughout the circuit, which means I can't indict anything and we can't try anything. So again, it really puts us in a dilemma with our jails. But as of now, we have started rescheduling things to in May, the Watson trial being one of those. We've got some cases down in Glenn County that we've had to reschedule, and we're very hopeful that we'll be in a position in May to resume things, hopefully.
Another high profile case here in Wayne County was the Harder shooting, and people were perplexed. The indictments came almost a year later. Explain why it took so long to indict in that case.
Well, the good news is most of our cases, law enforcement arrives on scene, GBI comes in, and it's not too difficult to determine about what happened pretty quickly. Sometimes the actual facts hinge on very fine points like crime lab results, and all of our crime lab results have to go to Savannah and get behind all of the other counties that are ahead of us in the queue. DNA, ballistics, things like that take a lot longer than drug analysis do. So this was a case where when we sat down and met with the GBI, we really felt like to make a good decision on it, to make an informed decision, we really needed to have some crime lab results. And so we waited for that to get back. And it was also a case in Georgia, you have, which is a good thing about being a citizen of Georgia, which is the case of a lot of the states in the South, but we have very good, very strong self-defense laws. And if a person if there's a theory of a self-defense on a case, we want to look at that especially closely before we go forward, so that a jury or a grand jury that's determining that can vet that information and determine how they feel about that. One of the things, and I think you saw this in the Watson case, and you don't have this right in every state, but in Georgia, you actually have a right to a pretrial determination by a judge as to whether or not you acted in self-defense. So if there are any issues of self-defense in a case, we are especially cautious before we move forward, because we know that that's a difficult burden. And again, a person should have a right of self-defense. And so we have to look at that. I run into this all the time, not every homicide. There's a lot of things that you would call a homicide in Georgia. We have
Okay, I'm going to go to the next one, okay? I'm going to go to the next because she's not talking anything that we want to hear. Hold on, maybe she'll talk about Aubrey and towards the end. Hold on.
This is what you look like before you do meth, and this is what you look like, and you don't have any teeth, and you look horrible.
Let's see, hold on.
Yay.
Well, again, our record, you know what we are. We've been here 10 years, and you're not just voting for me. You're voting for a lot of good people.
Okay, she's doing camp.
A heart for helping abused and neglected children. And that is highly coordinated.
Okay, she's gone. Okay, let's go to the next one, okay? You know how we do over here. We go in all over the world and come back. All right, let's see if this is the one with her again.
I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. Win $10,000 and they go to Super Bowl Sunday.
Looking forward to that touchdown club.
That's my plan.
Get together tomorrow night at the country club.
Got my fingers crossed anyway.
Yeah, maybe you'll get it this year, Bob.
Yeah.
There's always next year for you.
Chances are slim and none and slim left town. So that's right. But no, I still got hope.
Okay. Well, we've got a special guest in the studio with us this morning. Bob, who do we have?
It's hard to believe, but this is an election year. We've got all kinds of races coming up. Race for sheriff, solicitor, clerk of court, probate judge. Qualifying starts March 4th today, so we're less than a month away from qualifying. But one race is going to be the district attorney's race. The incumbent Keith Higgins has announced his candidacy for re-election, but John B. Johnson, longtime assistant DA, is in the studios with us. He's decided to run. So the first question is, why have you decided to put your hat in the ring for this position?
You know, I spent roughly 40 years working as an assistant DA with 3 different district attorneys. And I learned about the process that we go through to make sure that cases get disposed and get dealt with the way they ought to be dealt with. Since January 1st of 2021, all that has gone away. The process that's going through now is just cases are laying out there and nothing being done about them. And there comes a point in time when you just have to step up and say, I can do it better.
And you're running as a Republican. You've been a long time.
That's correct. So
what made you switch?
What do you mean switch?
You were a long time Democrat for a long time. So.
in 1996, I did run as a Democrat.
Right.
I'll take you back to 1994 when I supported Barry Goldwater, actively supported him in his presidential campaign, and I lost a bet in that. But then in 96, I ran as a Democrat. And Steve Kelly, who was a Republican at that time, won and hired me. And I've worked with Republicans for the last 25 years. And there was no choice in my mind. I think the Democratic Party for South Georgia has left us. We all used to be the Dixiecrats, the conservative end of the Democratic Party, but now they've reached a point where they're just doing things that we don't believe in.
Got a ton of things I want to get into. Let's start with, you recently spoke at the Republican Party. Is that correct?
Yes.
I was looking at this race. Like I said, you worked for 3 assistant DAs. The one assistant DA, the last assistant DA, last DA you worked for was Jackie Johnson.
Correct.
And then the race last time between her and Keith Higgins, it basically came down to Glenn County.
Correct.
I said Jackie took Wayne County, took Appleton County, took Jeff Davis, and Glenn County, and the Albemarle Albury case blew up. And so, of course, you're going to be tied to Jackie Johnson. So how do you overcome that in Glenn County?
Well, I don't know that I'm tied with Jackie Johnson in that respect. For the most part, when she recused the office from handling or dealing with that case, even though I was her chief assistant at that point in time, I had no further involvement in it. None. Was not even called before the grand jury when they considered indictments in that case. So I've made a name for myself. I am myself. And in all of the meetings that I've had with people down there, that really has not come up. And it's interesting that the support for her is still in the Republican Party in Glenn County is still there.
Well, correct me if this is wrong, because I said I wasn't at that meeting, but I heard you made a couple of statements. So I just want to see if they're true, and if you can say they're true or not true. But one thing I heard, going to Jackie Johnson, you stated at the Republican Party meeting that in your opinion, you didn't think she did anything wrong.
That is correct.
Did you make that statement?
Yes.
So if you were a DA, would you have handled anything differently, or would you have done the same thing?
Well, it depends on what you mean, done the same thing. Under the circumstances, I would have had to recuse the office. Yes, absolutely. Right. The question then becomes how much involved on the sideline do you get? That was a very high profile case. Probably in retrospect, she needed to get more involved in saying, this is what we can do, this is what we can't do. The biggest issue was that everybody wanted Jackie to order the arrest of Travis or Greg McMichael. And once we recuse ourselves, you can't do that. And we don't have the power to do that. You have to go through a grand jury, or the law enforcement has to go through a judge to get an order or a warrant to be able to do that. We just don't have that power. I think had that been more forcefully impressed on people, it might have been different. It was still a national story, and you just have to be very careful.
I've stated time and time again, two things that just I don't understand. Barnhill, who she sent it to in Waycross, wrote a written statement after he saw the video. He claimed it was self-defense. Nothing happened to him. And the other thing I don't understand is I've never seen a place anywhere where officers show up and there's a guy dead in the street and the guys are holding a gun and they go, what happened? It's self-defense. Oh, yeah, I'll go home. Why aren't those police officers?
Well, it's a little more involved in that. And I have to talk about what I've heard, what I've read in the paper, what I've seen on the news, what people talk about. The investigation was more involved than that. As far as the Glenn County Police Department, I don't have any fault with what they did. Having worked with them, I know what they went through. Having George Barnhill come in was a part of the normal process that we had at that time. If you recused yourself, you asked for a district attorney to come in from a contiguous circuit and to help you, and we went there to them, and that was approved by the Attorney General. Then when a complaint was made about George, which was of no consequence really legally, He chose to remove himself, and which for him was the right thing to do. But at this point, everything was followed as we were doing it as we were supposed to do. It became a national news story with 7 seconds of video that.
Well, one more thing from the Republican Party meeting. Like you mentioned the you mentioned the Attorney General.
Right.
Somebody said you made some comments about him, about he made some statements in the church somewhere. Is that true? Can you explain that?
I made that statement. Yes.
I've talked to the Attorney General. He says that most churches videotape or record these events, and he wants to know what church and what they.
I base that statement on hearsay, on what someone told me who was there and said that he made the statement that he was going to get Jackie Johnson. Of course, he was running for Attorney General at that time. Parenthetically, he's running for governor right now.
Like I said, we know him well. Like I said, he claims that he wants to know where that's because he's claiming that was
okay.
So I want to know what tell me what you think the job of the district attorney is, because one case. I want to start with the Harder case. I think y'all that card. Now, this case is investigated by law enforcement, investigated by the GBI. They seek an indictment. They get an indictment. They hand down indictments, murder, several other charges, and then all of a sudden it's just dropped. How does the district attorney do that? Where's the justice for those families and so-called alleged victims? I mean, what do they have any recourse at all? I mean, it was just dropped, gone.
Well, there is recourse. Murder has no statute of limitations. So a new district attorney can always take a look at it and re-indict it and re-prosecute it.
And refresh my memory. Did Jackie Johnson's office indict that, and then the DA after election drop it? Is that
we indicted?
That's what I thought. Right. So it was indicted under Jackie Johnson's regime. Right. And the new DA after the election comes in and he just drops it. Right.
The process that you go through as a prosecutor, especially, I mean, if you're an administrator, which is what he said on this show, he's not a trial lawyer, but I grew up with district attorneys being the trial lawyers. Mm-hmm. If you remember, Glenn Thomas Jr. tried cases.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've been in this job a long time. I'm watching court cases all the time, and it's just amazing to me that he doesn't prosecute cases. Like I said, going back to Glenn Thomas, Stephen Kelly, I mean, they take the high-profile cases and they prosecute them in court.
That's correct.
That's part of the DA. This guy claims he's just an office manager and hires other people to do the cases.
Well, we hired an office manager a lot cheaper than we got one now. But district attorneys are supposed to be hands-on people. You're also an administrator. You work with your personnel. You have to be a good leader. You have to treat your personnel right. You have to try cases. You have to have the experience to evaluate a case and make a decision. Dismissing a case is easy. I mean, you can, for whatever reason you want, you can dismiss a case because you have some discretion. The problem is that cases that should be dealt with by the grand jury are not being dealt with. They're just being allowed to sit and wait. And it's sad that victims are not getting their justice, what they are entitled to, because you have an administrator and not a prosecutor.
There's some real high profile cases. They're just, in limbo right now. And I saw Judge Steve Kelly, who used to be a DA at the Eggs and Issues break.
Okay, I was just going to try to listen to the part where he was talking about Jackie. But let's go ahead on and take a look at what happened. Let's take a look at that video, that famous video that came out, that body cam. Not just the body cam and the what the officers did during that time. Hold on.
Body camera footage captures the scene just minutes after Ahmaud Arbery is shot several times.
Travis, Roddy's got it on film.
Gregory McMichael spends time consoling his son and giving officers his account of what unfolded the afternoon of February 23rd.
The guy was trying to take the shotgun away from him. Honestly, if I could have got a shot at the guy, I'd shot him myself.
But it's the last breaths from a wounded Arbery that catches the attention of one of the investigating officers.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to try and do something for him. So I get these gloves on.
Efforts to save Arbery's life are unsuccessful.
It's like shotgun slug to the center chest. He was on his stomach when I got here. I rolled him over. He stopped breathing a couple minutes ago.
Meanwhile, Travis McMichael, the shooter, tells police he acted in self-defense. He appears distraught as he paces back and forth at the scene.
I want to run right.
I got you. So
It just doesn't look good. I mean, it just shot at me. Last thing I've ever done want to do in my life.
Several yards away, police question William Roddy Bryan, who quickly reveals he filmed the confrontation.
You're a passerby coming through? Nah, not necessarily. Okay.
Wearing sunglasses and standing near his black pickup truck, Bryan seems unsure of the reason for the fatal chase he joined.
Should we have been chasing him? I don't know.
That same question will be one for a jury. The McMichaels and Bryan now face malice murder and other criminal charges in Arbery's death. All three men have pleaded not guilty and are being held without bail pending their trials.
There is no lynch mob in Satilla Shores. There is no posse. The Klan isn't holding rallies. Okay. It's a small southern neighborhood like most any other. And the events of that day, without throwing rocks at anybody in particular, the events of that day were precipitated what somebody did. And the result was tragic.
Bryan's attorney, Kevin Goff, denies the chase was criminal. Prosecutors and the attorney for Ahmaud's family, Lee Merritt, call it a hunt triggered by the color of Arbery's skin.
If Ahmaud's skin color was different, things would have turned out differently. And we agree. We agree with that fundamentally. If Ahmaud had been a white person like the many white people who entered that property, he would have never been criminalized, targeted, hunted down, or killed.
All right, so what exactly does this new video reveal today? Let's bring everyone back in. Michael, taking a look at that video, what stood out to you? What kind of hit you from that video?
First thing that hit me was how polite the police are as they come upon a murder scene, or they come upon a scene where someone is dead on the ground. No guns come out of their holsters. They're very polite to the McMichaels. They don't handcuff them. They don't throw them to the ground. So that's the first thing. Second thing is Greg McMichael has a lot of connection to law enforcement. I was surprised he talked so much. When I listened to some of the things he was saying, a lot of it can be used against him. Part of it was already used against him. His claims of being connected to police and who he was already used against him by the judge in denying bond. He also talks about how Roddy Bryan boxed in Arbery as Arbery was trying to get away from them when they approached him. That is damning evidence against Roddy Bryan and against them, because he's saying Arbery tried to get away from them when they approached him. So he would have been better off keeping his mouth shut. So that jumped out at me as well.
Julie?
It's upsetting, Vinny. This video is really, really upsetting because this was the closest our eyes have really been to Ahmaud Arbery lying there dead in that roadway. And the thing that really jumped out at me was when the first responders got there, he was still breathing, and you hear them talking about trying to resuscitate him. And those three civilians, the McMichaels and Roddy Bryan, are standing there, and none of them are trying to render aid or help him, which could come back to haunt them in front of a jury. The jurors might be asking that question that, well, if he was still alive, if your intent was to just stop a felony, is what you're putting out there, that there was a commission of a felony you thought was occurring and you had to stop him. Well, now, I mean, he's helpless laying there. They don't help him. Really, really upsetting. And so I felt like that part jumped out at me the most as just being really, really heart-wrenching. And then the other thing was them getting their narratives out there. It really seemed like they seemed nervous. They appeared even kind of regretful to me, the way, especially Roddy Bryan, the way he said, should we have been chasing him? I don't know. So I sensed a little bit of regret as I was watching that, and definitely nervousness. And there's no question this is going to be a huge piece of evidence for the state, Vinny.
Ted, and you analyzed the original Roddy Bryan video and broke it down better than anyone. Now we've got all this brand new video. What does this tell you that you didn't know before?
Just the fact that the McMichaels sort of take the scene over, in my opinion, as Michael said, there's no guns drawn. The reason is because there's no worry. Yeah, there's a dead guy sitting in the street who's just been shot with a shotgun, but no big deal for the officers responding. And the reason is the McMichaels are out there right away. Greg in particular saying, "Oh, here's what happened. We didn't want to shoot him, but he wouldn't stop." And I think it looks real bad for them because they are absolutely worried a little bit, but they think it's all going to go away. That this is just it's an unfortunate situation that this young man didn't stop when they told him to. And that's not going to fly in front of a jury.
Let's take a listen to Gregory McMichael. He's the older one. And here, talking about, some blood on his hands, literally.
So is there any way I can...
Yeah, give me just a second. Sure. Let me get some pictures and stuff like that, and we'll get everything taken care of, okay? Give me just a minute.
I was chief investigator with the DA's office for 23 years, so I know what you got to do. I know everything.
Yeah, we just
cover
all
the bases.
Exactly.
Absolutely. We're here to help you.
Woo! We're here to help you, Michael.
Julie, you're one of my favorite people in the world, and I think you're one of the smartest people I know, but I disagree with you. They did not show regret. What they were showing there was basically they thought that they did the right thing. I don't know how many times he mentions, hey, my buddy's got a video of this. It's on video. And then he's already spewing out this narrative, which we already know a number of the facts that he says are not true. So he clearly wants to get his story out. We know he's making some phone calls around this time as well. No, he's a very savvy law enforcement guy who's trying to take over that scene, like Ted said.
All right, here's Travis McMichael. And again, remember, he's the one who actually shoots and kills Ahmaud Arbery.
I live right there. We've had break-ins and my gun stolen. And we caught him the other day, and Dad was outside, saw him running by, and the neighbors pointing and everything. So
saw who running by?
Him.
Okay.
So we run out to stop him to talk to him. He took off running. Stopped. He come out of the truck running at us. I told him stop till he hit me. I had nothing to do. There's nothing else I can do.
Two things there, Julie. One, he's saying there's nothing else he could do. He's saying that he hit me, so we know that's going to be the defense. The other thing that stuck out to me was him talking about, I had my gun stolen the other day. He's tying together, remember he left his car unlocked with the gun in it, right? And somebody stole it. Okay, well, maybe you shouldn't leave the gun there. Maybe you should lock your door. That aside, he automatically presumes that it was Ahmaud Arbery that did it. He's put that together in his head.
Right. He's definitely painting that picture, and that's certainly not responsible gun ownership. Any responsible gun owner knows that. So that's just idiotic. The other thing that jumped out was when he said, we just wanted to stop and talk to him. Then why did you come armed with guns? If you're trying to stop a jogger jogging by with the gym shorts and the T-shirt and appearing to be unarmed, we found out later he was unarmed. Why would you bring guns? It just, they're going to have a very difficult time, in my opinion, trying to pursue this idea that they were trying to effectuate a citizen's arrest because they believed that a felony had been committed. I never bought it from day one when I heard this come out. I certainly don't buy it after seeing this. And I think they look very nervous, very upset. And, the truth always comes out. I mean, it always comes out. It may have taken a while there in that county for everything to be sorted through. But at the end of the day, the truth always prevails, in my opinion. And I think it's going to prevail in the court of law in this case as well.
All right, Kevin Goff, the attorney for Roddy Bryan, the one who recorded the whole thing. We still don't know why it was recorded, right? That question has not been answered. But Kevin Goff spoke with us today, reacting to the release of this video.
I know the media has been aware of this body cam video only recently, but I think the lawyers have known about it for a while, certainly the state. So it's not really news it's news to the news, but it's not really news to the rest of us, if that makes any sense. My reaction to seeing it was like so many other things in this case. It's, parts of it are very shocking if you're not used to seeing crime scenes or being at crime scenes. And certainly you've got a young man. I think most of the media have been kind enough or considerate enough to blur out the images of him on these videos. But beyond that, there's nothing really surprising there. I'm not going to get into a recitation of all evidence in the case, but I took the position in May at our press conference, I think you were here for, and have repeated since that time that Roddy Bryan is not now and never has been more than a witness to the shooting. And I stand by that statement. I don't think the video really changes a lot, and I don't want to really be put in a position of putting evidence out there that's not already in the public record. The courts expressed concern about that, as have, I think, the lawyers at different times. When you see the full statements of Mr. Bryan, all of them, I think it's pretty clear that there's really nothing new or revelatory in the body cam video. It may feel new to the media, and it may seem more important only because you can't really place it in context. But when you see all of the evidence and all of the statements, I think you'll understand why the statements in the video are what they are and why we've taken the position that we have.
Ted, is there anything in that video that helps Roddy Bryan? I mean, he does volunteer, and it comes back to that fact. He volunteers the video. I mean, if he doesn't volunteer that video, no one even knows it exists. He's the only one in the world, until he tells police, that knows that there's a video of all this.
Yeah, the reason he volunteers is because he thinks this is going to clear everything up. He's going to, so look, I got the whole thing on video. You'll see. We were just chasing the black guy in our neighborhood that we had to chase, obviously, and he got shot. That's how ridiculous this is. They think the video helps them, and the McMichaels do too. And Kevin Goff thinks that the video helps them somehow. Well, guess what? The video shows that they chased him through this neighborhood, and Roddy Bryan didn't know why, but he joined the chase anyway. And while I think he's the least culpable, I think he's also in trouble.
Michael, let me ask you about the video, because there's two parts of it, right? There's the chase and then the actual shooting.
Mm-hmm.
The chase, it's clear what's taking place. The shooting, there's like two frames where you cannot see who initiates, when the gun comes up, and how the first shot really takes place. And it's probably the most important part, right? That's the one part that we don't see in that video. Does it matter, or does the jury just see the chase, the result, and put two and two together?
Yeah, I disagree with you. I don't think that's the most important part. I think it's the chase. I think it's the situation that has been created by these defendants. I think that puts Arbery in a position where he is on the defensive. And I think, again, McMichael's statement at the scene corroborates that he's trying to get away at some point. They go after him. They want to talk to him. He keeps trying to get away from them. He's blocked off by Roddy. And then there's a confrontation. At the scene, Travis says, hey, he hit me a couple of times, so I had to shoot him. But when you watch the video, you can see he's kind of get around him. He doesn't quite know what's going on as far as he's concerned. It's just these two guys with guns coming after him. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know that they think he's some kind of armed criminal in the neighborhood. And so at the end of the day, I'm not sure it matters as much what happens at the actual confrontation, but certainly you can bet that defense attorneys will want to focus on that.
Yeah, they're going to focus on the three frames that we don't see. I know it. All right, Ted, Julie, Michael, awesome job.
All right, y'all, here come another one. All right, hold on. Okay, hold on a second. We gotta do these little clip-ins. doing these little clippings on her.
The News4 Jax I-Team has been looking into Johnson's track record as the district attorney for 5 counties. She was their top prosecutor for a decade. I-Team investigator Vic Micolucci shows us how other attorneys have raised red flags long before the Arbery homicide.
Jackie Johnson got international attention as the top prosecutor for the Ahmaud Arbery case, but she had been the district attorney in Southeast Georgia since 2010, when the governor of Georgia appointed her. During her 10 years in office, she was in charge of several high-profile cases, including some that are controversial. This cell phone video showing the shooting death of Ahmaud Arbery caused outrage, coming out 2 months after Glynn County Police and then District Attorney Jackie Johnson decided to not charge the 3 men who chased him down. That ended up putting other cases she worked under the microscope. This 2010 video shows 2 Glynn County police officers shooting and killing Caroline Small after she led them on a chase. Cops had her car pinned and she was unarmed when they fired. Johnson presented the officer-involved shootings to a grand jury, but defense attorney Bill Adkins told the I-Team she made several legal missteps. Johnson provided the officers' defense attorneys with evidence before she presented it to a grand jury. Johnson went before the grand jury without presenting an indictment, and she allowed defense attorneys to participate in the grand jury hearing by asking questions. No charges were filed against the officers.
She violated that plainly, unequivocally, and there was no consequence other than the fact that 2 men went free.
One of the officers, Corey Sasser, would later become a fugitive on domestic abuse charges. And in 2018, he killed his estranged wife and another man before turning the gun on himself. Another lawyer who questioned Johnson's legal practices was the district's former chief public defender, Kevin Goff, who says there were violations long before the Arbery case.
What about the thousands of other people who have been run through the criminal justice system and the tens of thousands across the state? What's being done to make sure that these kinds of problems don't happen again?
So are you saying that you feel, in your opinion, that some defendants did not get a fair trial when Jackie Johnson was district attorney?
I have no doubt that defendants did not get a fair trial. I have no doubt that people that were innocent under the law went to jail. And, the sad thing is trying to figure out who they are is difficult.
The 2 sparred frequently in court. Goff was the court-appointed defense in the 2013 case where 2 teens killed 13-month-old Antonio Santiago while his mother was pushing him in a stroller. Goff says Johnson's indictment shows his complaints for years had merit, especially since the former police chief was also indicted in a subsequent corruption case.
I think that's a pretty damning indictment of the way law enforcement has been operating in Glynn County for some time. So, it's troubling, and I'm sure the community is troubled by it.
Johnson blamed the controversy over Arbery's death for her election defeat last year. Independent candidate Keith Higgins collected thousands of signatures to get on the ballot and won. He's now the district attorney. I'm Vic Micolucci, Channel 4, the local station.
Thank you, Vic. Our coverage continues right now on news4jax.com. We posted a copy of the indictment against Jackie Johnson. Just look for the story on the homepage.
Alrighty. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. One more time. Okay, guys, hold on. Let's get this one here.
Headline news, views, and opinions. I'm Romeo.
Hey there, I'm Brooke. I'm Demi. Happy holidays. I'm Nielle. Raises concerns globally. Good evening, Soulmate. Thank you for joining us. Former Brunswick County Prosecutor Jackie Johnson has been released from jail. You know, she's the prosecutor charged with misconduct for her handling of the case involving Gregory and Travis McMichael and William Roddy Bryan, all three now convicted murderers. She was booked into a Georgia jail and then released. NBC 15 reporting Judicial Circuit District Attorney Jackie Johnson turned herself in last week at the Glenn County Jail. Jail records show, again, she was released on her own recognizance. A grand jury indicted Johnson on a felony charge of violating her oath of office and a misdemeanor count of obstructing police. Johnson was the area's top prosecutor when those three men, the McMichaels and Mr. Bryan, chased and shot and killed 26-year-old Ahmaud Arbery last year. The indictment alleges she used her position to discourage police from making arrests in his killing. You know, this is a horrifying story. And today in the LA Times, there's actually a breakdown of another case involving Jackie Johnson, in which, in this case, it's about a woman named Caroline Small who was killed by an officer. And a GBI agent says this was one of the worst they had ever seen. In that case, Jackie Johnson, in a different county at that point, was also the prosecutor and also, similar to this case, instructed police not to make any arrests. And so now there's a conversation of looking back into everything she's had her hands in. Brooke, so glad that you brought that up. The LA Times, I didn't get a chance to give it a full deep dive. So thank you so much for enlightening us, because I saw that and I was like, whoa, 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 this is so shocking. And so to me, it is just really disheartening. We've talked about it, of course, before, to know that 74 days it took for Ahmaud Arbery's killers to even have to have any accountability. And it wasn't because they were looking for more details. They were literally, she was literally, Jackie Johnson was literally sitting back, controlling the narrative and just trying to look out for her friends. And it is just so sad to know that a black man lost his life and he really didn't have to. And then after that, you could have just took accountability for what happened here, but you tried to control the narrative. And that's just the really saddest part for me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think the hope in all of this, I think the hope in all of this is that politics are local and district attorneys are elected. And so this woman was elected into office. And so I hope that Glenn County, they pay more attention now to the people that are seated in judicial seats, that are seated in district attorneys, because we have the power to change this narrative of these individuals who are elected as district attorneys. And we could change this. We could change this, America. We really can, if we pay more attention to the ballot. I know it's easy to go in and you vote on what you see on TV, which is generally like governors or the mayor or the president. But these smaller elections, like district attorneys, judges, and things of that nature, they really have power. And I think this story right here shows that we can change this narrative.
If you think about it, if you dig deep, even more deep into this story, you think about the DA, George Barnhill, right, who told the police officer there's no reason to arrest those men because there was enough evidence. They were just simply doing a citizen's arrest. So if you think about that, he backed away from the trial, but I did not know until recently that his son worked for Miss Johnson. They all worked together along with Gregory McMichael. So you think about how behind the scenes they were trying to clean up the situation, knowing what was wrong. So instead of coming forward and saying, look, what you did was wrong, I can't help you, I'm gonna back away, this is on you, they try to help him out. So it's kind of sickening when you look even deep into this story.
Well, I just have a really quick question. You know, Niele, I think when we're voting, we think that we're doing our just due. You look up the people, you think you're voting, but how really can you know if a person deep down on the inside is going to be racist and is going to do what Jackie Johnson did? Like, that's the only thing. Like, as a voter, it seems so easy to say, like, make sure you research, because like I feel like I'm a voter that researches the people before I vote. But still, you could vote for a black person on the ticket, and that doesn't mean that they're gonna, be the right person for the job. So that's just the hard thing, as
I'll tell you a trick, Demi. Look at who endorses the candidate. Endorsements mean a lot. So depending on who endorses them, where they're getting their funding from, that'll tell you a lot about a candidate as well as a ballot measure. The endorsements matter, so pay attention to that as well. All right, we're moving on to our next story. Thousands of people are raising money online for a Missouri man who served 43 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Kevin Strickland, who is 62, was exonerated last week after serving decades at Western Missouri Correctional Center in Cameron, Missouri. Now, Strickland was convicted in 1979 of 1 count of capital murder and 2 counts of second-degree murder in a triple homicide. He received a 50 years to life sentence without the possibility for parole for a crime that over the years he maintained he was not involved in. Now, Senior Judge James Welsh dismissed all criminal counts against Strickland. His release makes his confinement the longest wrongful imprisonment in Missouri history and one of the longest in the nation, according to the National Registry of Exonerations. Now, the Midwest Innocence Project created a GoFundMe account to help Strickland restart his life since he doesn't qualify for help from the state of Missouri. Now, donations are already at $1.4 million. And the reason why he was unable to get the help that he needed or to file a civil suit against the state was because of the DNA. There was no DNA evidence, and it's based upon Missouri law, you know. But at the end of the day, this is a reflection of our criminal justice system. It is a reflection of what systemic racism looks like in this country when we talk about people of color and how we're disregarded and how charges can be placed on us. And if we don't participate, America, in jury duty, in voting the right people into office and paying attention to these things, this is the type of results we get. You know, some people say that the system isn't broken. It was designed to do this to people of color, which I believe is true. But the only way to make these incremental changes is if we pay more attention as to who's sitting in these judicial seats and these district attorney seats.
You know, I hate to make it all about voting, Neo, because I feel like it puts a lot of pressure on me. Honestly, when you put it feels like it's a lot of pressure as a voter, but also at the same time, I feel like the justice system has been set up to oppress Black people. I feel like it's a trickle-down effect, and we could vote in all the right people, think that we're voting in the right people, but still the higher-ups are going to make sure, just like we were talking about with Jackie Johnson, they're going to make sure that they look out for their people. So that's just the scary part, to have so much pressure as a voter that, like, it's our fault. You know, yes, we could do a little bit more, but I also feel like up top, they're going to control it and make sure it goes in their way. But one quick thing I wanted to add on here, I've been really keeping up with his GoFundMe account, and it's been fascinating. I mean, there's been some $10,000, $50,000 donations for him, which I love to see. And it was so interesting because we talk a lot about the government shelling out millions of dollars when a Black person dies for a wrongful death. But sitting in jail for that many years, I mean, a part of that has to feel like a part of you died. And so it's so interesting to me. No DNA aside, I get that. But I still feel like he should have been, there should have been some money. You give out money when a person dies. A part of you had to have died when you were wrongly convicted and in jail. And I feel like he should have gotten some money as well.
That's like probably the most upsetting thing. I'm glad we continue to talk about this story. We had this story on the show last week. I mean, you were almost in tears because this was 43 years of his life. Just to think that, you know, his mom actually passed away just a few months ago. And, you know, we talked about the fact that he said his very first thing he wanted to do when he got out of prison was go and see her grave. Yeah. But the fact that just thinking about that's what was left for him. An innocent man in prison for 43 years. And
43 years.
He was a teenager. That's
Wow.
your life. You know what I mean? Like he had a young child at that point, and there's also that relationship that they're going to have to struggle to rebuild on the outside and everything that comes with that. But his mother was gone. And specifically because of a state law and a technicality that there was no DNA evidence, the thing is that cleared him, there was no evidence that pinned him to the crime. There was no physical evidence that pinned him to the crime to begin with. And so DNA is not even at question here, but the fact that there is no workaround for people who are convicted based on faulty eyewitness testimony, based on faulty eyewitness evidence is of course upsetting. It's another one of those instances. We kind of talk about it when we talk about billionaires who give money to charity, right? And how the wish from progressives is that the system will kind of take care of things in ways so that you don't have to depend on private citizens and how they feel that day. Essentially, the question here is that could there be a way for the system to take care of this? There's no way you can get 43 years back, as Demi pointed out, but the fact that, everybody agrees something bad happened to him. We're so sorry about that. But because of state law, we can't help you. That is just, it's.
And the thing about the end of the day, just to hear him do his interviews and talk, he just wanted to go see the ocean. He wanted to go swim. and get in the water and enjoy yourself. But they could not.
I'm glad you're here
His mother,
today.
that was so sad.
Jackie.
And I just want to say one more thing to the point. I'm really trying to drive this point home. Brooke, you brought up state law, but guess what? Those state lawmakers were elected by us, the people. So until we become more responsible about our civic duty, and it's one of the liberties that the world admires about us, is that we have the power to make change in this nation. And so we should really be more thoughtful and intentional with the entire ballot when we look at it, because that's where the change is going to happen.
I agree. But the families of the Groveland Four got some closure after Florida officially cleared.
All right, y'all. I am go ahead and I'm going to end this live. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of update. Tomorrow, don't forget, we will be in court. We will be in court tomorrow from 9 a.m. From 9 a.m. we will be in court, okay? All right, P.S. The whole house knows Sylvia because the replay have got me through. Oh, tell everybody, say hi. Hey, Hal. Hey, family. Hey, family. All right, guys. I will see you guys in the morning. We're going to have our prayer at 7 because I'm going to get out of here so I can be in court by 9. All right. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. Love you guys. I gotta go downstairs and get me some water. I have to have water by the side of my bed so I don't feel thirsty, dehydrated. I've been feeling dehydrated. Hey, Bonnie. All right, guys. Good night. Love y'all. Oh, may the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another. Good night. Love y'all.
Thank you for watching the infamous Sylvia channel, where laughter and fun make up our panel. Together we build this digital spree. We appreciate you and our growing family. With mods by our side and chat flowing free in this online space. It's just you and me, we laugh until tears roll down like the rain. In this virtual world, you ease all my pains. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We cherish the moments, the highs and lows, from the latest gossip to stories untold. You're more than a viewer, you're part of the crew in this space of ours. It's all because of you. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click